Hey guys, welcome back to Quail Snail. Today we're in Yellowstone National Park. We're in the Madison River picnic pullout.
We've been here for about 7 days and we've got some lessons learned and tips and tricks that we're going to share with you so that you can have a great family vacation in Yellowstone too.
Exciting, you guys. This is your first visit to Yellowstone.
Hi there, I'm doing well, thanks. How are you? Our drive from the Tetons to our campground in West Yellowstone was about 2.5 hours. We have 2 videos about our time in the Tetons, one about our time in the park and one about some of the things we did in Jackson. So if you haven't had a chance to check those out, you might want to do that.
We listened to a tour from the part we finished in the Grand Tetons all the way into becoming the Yellowstone tour. It was Gypsy Tours, and we looked up the guy who was doing the voiceover, and his name is apparently Dave, so we started calling him Gypsy Dave.
Okay, let me ask you guys a question. When you thought about Yellowstone before we got here, like what did you picture in your mind?
Yellowstones. I pictured a lot of sulfur, you know, with the geysers and stuff.
I pictured geysers, and I pictured the Grand Prismatic.
Nice. You'd seen the Grand Prismatic Spring. What about you?
I pictured like a barren wasteland that looks like a moon landing with a bunch of geysers in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, were you?
And this is in the park, and it's all green, and there are wildflowers and river.
Yeah.
Didn't we read that like 80% of the park is forested?
Yes. And of that 80% that's forested, how much of it is lodgepole pines? Noah?
80%. If you ever want to look at a tree and like know what that tree is, just say it's a lodgepole if you're in Yellowstone.
Odds are in your favor.
And there are canyons and other things too.
So many beautiful rivers.
Yeah.
It's a really beautiful place. So we came out the West Gate immediately. We went out West Gate. We went through West Yellowstone to the West Gate KOA, which is where we're staying. We have a lovely shady spot.
I like the indoor pool and the barbecue.
The indoor pool was definitely like really awesome because then I didn't have to worry about getting sunburned. And then I also really enjoyed the fudge. It was like really good.
What was your
The
favorite
fudge was
part?
great, but I really liked that our spot was shady. It had pine trees all around our trailer.
Yes.
So it was a lot cooler that way. So the next day we wanted to get up really early. I think I suggested it, and you thought it was a good idea.
Right. Everybody says the way to see Yellowstone without crowds is to get up early. Noah and Miles, how do you feel about getting up early?
I do not like it.
Getting up early, like, you don't get sleep. Fun fact, getting up early, you don't get sleep.
You wake up grumpy?
Yeah, getting 2 teenagers out the door early has been a challenge, but we did it. We got up at 6 and we left by 7 and we got to Old Faithful because our neighbor, I had been talking to our campground neighbor because you learn all the best stuff from your campground neighbors, and she said she'd gotten up early that morning and gone to Grand Prismatic, but she couldn't see it because it was so cold. The steam rising off the hot water had blocked the view. So we went straight to Old Faithful.
We didn't know exactly when the first one was going to be because the National Park Service doesn't tell us the first one until the first one happens.
The National Park Service has a website when they update the times that Old Faithful is expected to go off. It goes off every 74
75,
minutes on
yeah.
average, but they calculate it from when the last one went off. So the early morning eruptions, they haven't calculated because there's no one in the office yet to calculate when the last one was and add up the time. So
I think it was supposed to be at 8:49.
and we got there like at 8.
That's it. Nope, it happened.
What time is it?
Any thoughts on Old Faithful?
Big
Well,
geyser.
Pretty big, but like, you know, it could have been bigger.
Also, our view was kind of obscured by the steam.
So we did the loop around Old Faithful. We did the visitor center at Old Faithful.
And since we didn't have sunscreen, we didn't do the rest of the loops, right?
Well, morale was low. People were not people were not in the mood to
Yes.
take a loop around. So we got back in our car.
And then our tour told us to go to the Biscuit Basin.
Fun fact, it doesn't have any biscuits.
No, the biscuits are gone now.
Very sad.
But it does have a bunch of cool hydrothermal features, so we did a loop there. And I think that was the first place we saw humans acting foolishly around animals in the park.
Yeah, there was a bison right next to the boardwalk path. And so we couldn't make the full loop around. We had to turn back and go the other way.
People were just
But
walking
there was a guy
up to the
walking
bison.
closer to it.
Yeah.
That person should not have been doing that.
Agree. We were there at 10:15, and we left there and tried to park at the Midway Basin, which is where Grand Prismatic is, at around 10:30. The parking lot was already full. So we said, no, this is not for us. We were hot, we were cranky, we didn't have sunscreen, we couldn't park. We gave up. We headed back to our campground, but again, on a recommendation from our recorded tour guide, we stopped and did the loop drive towards Firehole Falls.
Firehole River sounds almost apocalyptic as a name, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
It's very sad. It doesn't have any fire.
Good falls.
Good falls.
Anything new? Good falls.
You're disappointed it's not actually on fire? You were expecting flames?
I mean, it was pretty nice though.
That was a really,
Yeah.
that was a good find, and that was a thing we wouldn't have done, I don't think, if Gypsy Dave hadn't suggested
That was
it to
a
us.
one-way road that was just going to the north, I guess. And
Yeah.
it was definitely a narrow road with steep drop-offs.
Along the Firehole River, which is maybe one of my favorite rivers in the park, although the Madison River, yeah.
So after Firehole Falls,
We hung out, we relaxed, and we went back into the park around 5 o'clock in the evening, and this is a game changer. No one's going to give you this tip except us.
Don't come early. Come late.
Come late. It stays light in Yellowstone in the summer until 10 o'clock easy. So come back after 5. On this particular day, there was a thunderstorm warning, and the clouds were in the sky. It was dark. It was atmospheric. The light was incredible.
so then we went to the Fountain Pot Trail.
We did.
Everybody put your burger and drink away. Can't
Good.
take them.
All right. We invested in the $1 trail guide.
It was a pretty good trail guide. We got to see, we got to know what we were gonna see and some facts about the geysers.
Yeah, Noah was in charge of reading the trail guide and predicting what we were going to come to next, and that was a real morale booster for people who were maybe not super excited to be on the trail.
Is that the one where we saw the bubbling mud stuff, or was that the next one up?
No,
I think that was our
that-
first bubbling mud pot.
yeah, that,
Okay,
that
yeah.
found paint pot. It's like when you read from
Everything going?
Things they wear cold weather.
I mean, it kind of looks. Never jump in this.
I mean, out of all of them, this would probably be the best one to fall in.
Next we went to Midway Geyser Basin, which had the main attraction that we were looking for, which was the Grand Prismatic Spring.
That was on your must-do list, right,
Yeah.
Miles? Yeah.
And mine.
Did it live up to your expectations?
Yes, and honestly, it was probably my favorite thing we did
Do
here.
you remember how many hats we saw there?
Yeah,
It was really windy.
At least half a dozen hats. And one question I meant to ask a ranger and I never found one to ask is how do they clean those hats up?
They just got a long grabby thing.
I bet they had expert fishermen that just cast their rods right back out there and landed right on the hats.
If you happen to know how they clean up the hats off of the boardwalk, leave us a comment. We didn't get a chance to ask a ranger. It was just starting to rain, and we wanted to hustle back to the campground because we weren't 100% sure how the cats were going to feel in a thunderstorm in the Alto back at camp. So we scooted back to camp as quickly as we safely could.
We got ice cream from the campground we were staying at, and it was from the coffee cabin, apparently. I got the chocolate ice cream.
Miles got the cookie dough. I got the cookie dough. What flavor did you get?
I got the bunny tracks, which
Okay.
was of interest to Noah, but it had peanuts, so I had to fall on the
Sure.
grenade and eat the bunny tracks.
And that was the end of that
That was
day.
the end of our first day.
So the next day we went to the Grizzly Bear and Wolf Discovery Center.
Did we start early that day?
No, we didn't start early.
I don't think we got to that center before noon, did we?
We didn't. We had a sleep-in day, which is what I promised the boys after our early wake-up for Old Faithful. We got there about noon, and we were planning to head to the park around 4, and my concern at the moment was, are we going to be able to get through this place in just 4 hours?
It only took us about 1 hour to get through the entire place. We saw like a lot of the things that they had there.
What do you remember liking the most that you saw?
I like seeing the wolves the most, especially the white furred wolf. That was a pretty cool wolf.
Yeah, it was a small place, but it was packed full of really cool things, and we would definitely recommend a visit there if you have a day where you just want to do something outside the park. I think my favorite were the otters. They were very cool.
We got some good otter photos.
Yeah,
Definitely.
But there were also bears and raptors. All of the animals that live there are animals that aren't able to survive in the wild. Not only do they rotate in and out of the exhibit so that there's always a bear to study and learn about, but they're working bears.
Yeah, I remember they had a container testing thing where they would put a container in the exhibit and see how long it takes for the bear to get in.
Yeah,
And if the bear couldn't get in some number of minutes, they said the container was bear safe.
I love that so much, working bears. So that was a really cool find. It was a place that did have a AAA discount, so we were able to get a few dollars off of our tickets. So we finished up there after about an hour, no more than an hour and a half.
Could I
Yeah.
talk about the Ernie's?
Yeah, go for it.
I really wanted to try a pastrami sandwich at Ernie's because pastrami just sounded good. And we hopped over to Ernie's.
But you'd never had
For
pastrami
lunch.
before, right?
No, I that was the first time I ever tried pastrami.
What do you think of the beef pastrami?
Look how much bread there is.
Is that a plus? I would think that's a plus for you.
I don't taste it.
Okay. Is it good? Would you order it again?
It tastes good,
Okay.
but I don't know if I'm tasting pastrami.
Okay. How's your grilled cheese?
Pretty good for my one bite that I've had.
Excellent. Nice. Ernie's.
It's here in Yellowstone.
I'm gonna try the French baguette with prosciutto and mozzarella. You wanna tell us about the hot pastrami?
It's half gone.
I think it would have been better with, the fixins.
Exactly. Hashtag life lessons. Get the fixins. All right, so we had Ernie's for lunch. Again, we took some time in the afternoon. Everybody relaxed, did what they wanted to do.
Taco. Ow, no! That was mommy.
Taco.
Take that.
That's your gorilla.
Gorilla.
It's your gorilla, dude. And then we went back to the park that evening. So we were headed towards Norris Geyser Basin, but along the way, Gypsy Dave again suggested we stop at Gibbon Falls along the Gibbon River, and that was a really beautiful little stop. Right there, the wildflowers were lovely. You could see the giant forested hills in the background. The fall was lovely, spectacular. And when we got back to our truck, remember there was a raven sitting on the back of our truck, like it was my truck
Yes.
now.
That raven owned that truck.
Yep. Hey, Burb,
Kind of
it's a truck.
We're gonna need you to start our car. Yeah.
So we saw the porcelain basin loop at Norris Geyser Basin.
Another time when we bought the $1 trail guide, gave it to our trail reader Noah here, and he guided us through the finer points of the Norris Geyser Basin.
Mommy recommended. Norris is one of the hottest and most acidic of Yellowstone's hydrothermal areas. It is one of the world's largest active hot springs. Many hot springs and fumaroles here have temperatures above the boiling point. These conditions help to create this dynamic geyser.
Do you think this would look as wild and crazy if the sky was clear?
No.
Or do you think the clouds are making this look
I think the clouds add extra atmosphere to this.
very. Lettuce, delicious, delicious,
We were driving back and you saw something in the river.
I was hoping to see a trumpeter swan in the Tetons, and it turns out it's not the right time of year to see trumpeter swans in the Tetons. So as we came up along the Madison River, we saw a big white shape in the river, and we were able to get into a pullout. Some friendly folks pulled up behind me and said, "Oh, you saw it too?" And I said, "Yes, do you know what it is?" And they said, "We think it's a swan." It's got currents. Oh, and I said, "I think it's a swan too." I still honestly don't know whether that's a trumpeter swan or not, but it was some kind of swan. Again, the light in the evening, beautiful. I mean, this was like 8:30, 9 o'clock.
After that, we drove the rest of the way out of the park back to West Yellowstone.
We stopped at Haagen Daaz and we got some pretty good ice cream. Apparently the small size had 2 scoops in it.
Another pro tip if you're staying in West Yellowstone, eat a late lunch and then get ice cream for dinner.
Very delicious.
That's a quail snail nutrition fact right there.
So the next day, we didn't go to Yellowstone at all, did we?
So this is July of 2022, and you might remember that there was some flooding in Yellowstone about 3 weeks ago. The park was shut down for the first time in its 150-year history. Times were uncertain. We didn't know exactly what was going to happen. For a while, there was going to be an every other day entrance system based on your license plate. And so I had been finding some things for us to do in West Yellowstone outside the park in case there were days when we couldn't enter the park. And one of the things that I discovered was West Yellowstone Aerial Adventures. And it's a big ropes course / zipline park really close to where we're camping. And so I'd made us reservations to spend about 3 hours climbing and zipping and scaling and all of those sorts of things.
We were pretty high off the ground.
Did we spend 3 hours though?
Not in total.
No. So you guys went up into the rope course and I stayed on the ground and filmed everyone.
Yep. And we had a nice training session. There were a lot of folks there, and I would say the thing that I am most proud of from our time at the Aerial Adventures Park is that everybody did at least one thing that they found completely terrifying.
You ziplined.
You did the
Zipline.
full zipline course all the way around.
Yes. I think, Miles, the hard part for you was the tight ropes.
I really did not like that.
But you did it twice. I was super proud of you. Noah, you didn't like the wobbly bridges, but you went back and forth across them a couple times, testing them out.
I really didn't like the heights. Like, I had to keep myself up instead of just being in a ride or something.
So basically everybody challenged themselves, pushed themselves, and it was a good, different sort of thing that we had never tried before. And I would never have gotten down off those zip lines if it weren't for the teenagers behind me assuring me that I was not going to die. Bless their hearts.
Minutes. I think it was a car crash.
Something exciting is happening right around the corner. We can't see it. We don't know what it is.
They're stopping their sirens as soon as they go around that corner.
But whatever it is, there's a good number of professionals there to help.
There's another fire department.
There's
Two fire vehicles.
Two
sheriff,
ambulances.
fire, police.
And they're stopping right there.
Right around where the bear was.
That was the first day we went swimming at the indoor pool. And it was also the day we had, I think, our biggest thunderstorm.
I took a nap while you guys went swimming with the kittens.
Yes, thanks for keeping the cats company. So, I mean, it was nice to be able to swim in the middle of a lightning storm. You can't do that normally, but being inside, we could. And then we had to dash back to the trailer. We got soaking wet. And that was the day you guys were ready to have a day off from the park, and I think the rainstorm sealed the deal.
And then we went to get the campground barbecue after that, right?
Yes. Campground KOA barbecue was delicious.
Noah got a hamburger.
3rd pound Angus burger.
Yep. And so
Very
did I.
delicious.
What did you eat, Miles?
I had a grilled cheese. It
Cool.
was small, but it was really good.
And then you tried the
Montana
bratwurst?
bratwurst.
All delicious.
Yeah.
Talented teenage chefs there at the KOA campground.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a good evening. It was like an evening at home. The kitties were happy to have us in the trailer with them during the thunderstorm. Oh my goodness, we got some good kitty snuggles.
All right.
And
You
good
did.
barbecue. All
Let-
right.